So I wanted to take a minute to talk about communication and what that means to have effective communication, and when you're dealing with simple truth, complicated truth, which is like his truth, her truth, the truth, and the experiences and the things that comes out of it, because it seems like I'm struggling with something that I wanted to talk about. Just not like details, but it helps sometimes to work through it. And okay, when you're trying to communicate something with somebody, okay, and let's say, for example, you're trying to communicate something about a child of yours, okay, and their child, shared child, and you're trying to try something different, okay, a new way of something, because you are aware of things that just don't seem to work. And when we learn from the past, it's about not ignoring the past, not denying the past, not hiding from the past, but accepting it and learning from it. It's not about reliving it, but we know what doesn't work and we know why. It's like, okay, not everybody takes time to think things through like that and reflect like that. I get that. I totally get that. I do, because it's important for me as to be me. It's a part of who it's just part of me. It's just something that I do. And the thing is when I'm trying to communicate about it, and this is something about me, this personal, that I will share, but I had a very bad cycle and pattern within myself that to always take in very personally things, even if someone was to project something of their own onto me or not. Even now still, I'll look at it as if it's me before anything. And I used to really be hard on myself, especially when I didn't understand it. And I didn't know then that it's because it wasn't actually mine. And I was taking on something of a projection that somebody else would be pushing on me when it was actually their own. And I wasn't, at the time, strong enough mentally or emotionally or anything like that to be able to get through it, I guess. The thing about healing, I just want to mention, is what's so important, and why I promote healing so much is because when you start to heal from trauma, and that can mean subtle trauma just as well as any kind of trauma, things of our shadows, the more healed you get, the less capable you're able to be manipulated in any situations. You decrease your manipulation, like receptivity, basically. That's what it does. And manipulation it's all about self-victimization, and you can't be manipulated if you're not self-victimizing. And those who victimize others, they're not only manipulating others, they're also manipulating themselves in many ways. And I'm not going to get into that in this video, but another time I will, and I can explain how that's so. But the thing is because of that, that's how I've gotten through things, and I understand some things, is because I do, and I still will take things into consideration and really, and I'll take them hard sometimes, like, even if it's something I'm not causing, if it's a pain that someone else is causing themselves and they're pushing it on me, I still don't take that lightly. I take that to heart, and I process that because I don't know how to get around it, and I know that I can't, because it's not mine to get around. But if I can't reach them to help them get through it, there's like a line that I just don't know how to get around, as far as how to not take that personally, I guess I should say, because this video was about, my intention was about taking things personally versus not, and when not to. And but that is, I guess, something that I don't take it personally that I can't help them or that they don't want me to help them, but I guess I take it personally that I can't reach them or explain it. But I know that it's and I do know deep down that it's not, I'm not supposed to, and it's not my place to, and it's not, everyone's on their own path. Everyone has their own thing. Everyone has their own issues, and everyone has their own things to overcome, and no one can do it for you. And I can't do it for anyone. Trust me, there was a time that I thought I could, and I fucking tried. But, and it's not good. You don't even want to know. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for anybody because it hinders everybody involved. Everybody. But I won't go off on that. But, when someone, okay, now I'm going to get back onto what I was trying to say. Let's say that you have a child, right? And you're trying to talk about something about with that child, and the way that you wanted to talk about it, to come up with a plan on ways of sticking together in a plan of action so that you're on the same page, so that the child has stability and consistency with all around, from both parents, if they can agree. And that's good structure for a child, okay? Especially going through things or changes. Well, with that being said, when discussion goes on and the other parent starts to step in and talk about things in a certain way and saying things, and with that being said, okay, when I interrupt, let's say I interrupt, because that's just repeating what's always being done. Now, how is that any different? It's not, right? And speaking and giving things, and see, this is okay. We'll make this about something else too, I guess. Let's say when there's a child struggling to express themselves in certain ways, not completely, not about everything, but in certain ways, and maybe don't even really know what it is that they feel. They're trying to work through something and then they don't understand it. They're not, other areas of their life maybe not up to par as their normal, okay? There's things they need to express and work out within themselves. There's things going on, and they might not really understand it. Now, with that being said, when I'm trying to talk, because are trying to talk to the child about this, I feel that it's good to relate and resonate, right? But I feel like doing that in the beginning is not good for the child, because it's hindering the child, because the child is needing to develop their own ways of expressing and understanding what they feel and what's going on and why things aren't working for them and how they're not working for them and what is working for them and what they could do to change things around. That's things that the child needs, that only the child knows. Only the parents don't know. It's not possible. They're not the child. They're not them. They don't have those answers, no matter if they think they do or not. They don't. Okay. Now, when the child's not wanting to speak up about it, and it's just, okay, this is what's going on. No matter what, just having that discussion and starting to show the support united for them to get through it, even if that discussion in the first conversation, maybe that child says 2 words. That's progress, okay? Next time, a little bit more. They start to feel more comfortable. They start to say a couple more words about it, expressing a little more, and they're starting to figure out what it is. Well, it's important that they develop that and figure it out themselves and know what they want, what they feel, why things are going wrong. And I feel that when we try to resonate or relate too soon, and we're talking about what we go through and how we feel and why that's good to do, but not until after the child expresses their own. Then you can comfort them with resonating, with relating and talking about our own stories after they express more about themselves. That's actually something to, so that they know that it's okay and that they're human just like we are and we went through it too. It is important, but not until they start and learning how to develop their own. So I interrupt that because that was happening. And what happens is the child just agrees to everything, doesn't say anything, just yes and yes, and not actually developing the voice they need to express what, or even maybe even know. They might not even understand it, but they need to work through it to figure it out, because that's very important. Because as a child, and children later in life as adults, when we don't work through these things and understand these things within ourselves as a child, our inner child as an adult is not healthy, and it creates problems in life, and that creates healing that needs done to be able to function properly. And as an adult, it will hinder in some way or another. Not in everything. It doesn't mean your whole life is like that, but there will be aspects where it will become a problem. Well, when I interrupt the parent, let's say I do, because they start to do that, and I'm trying to say, no, just let them first, let them, and try. And the thing is I thought this was understood beforehand, but it wasn't, apparently. Now, this turns into, let's say, they take it personal, and because feeling like I'm attacking or making them out to be a bad parent, or telling them how to parent, or that they're not doing anything. But that's not the case. That's not the case. It's not about them. When I'm trying to tell them, let's say that, no, don't do that, because, and I explain why, so that the child needs to really understand what's going on within themselves. Okay, that's self-empowerment. They don't need saved. They need to understand themselves, and that's the truth. And trust themselves, and know what they feel, and how they feel, and why, and what to do with it, and what works. That's development. That's so important. And when we take that away from our child by giving them things to respond to, like yes, no things, or just agree with, just to avoid difficult conversations and not have to, reflect within ourselves, that hinders them. It hinders. Now, when the parent clearly, and when I say this to them, that's because I was guilty of this completely myself. I did not just randomly have this great idea. Did not just randomly understand this. I did not just randomly be like, oh, this is what we're gonna do. I was doing it myself. I was doing it too. And we've got, let's say we have lots of kids, and I can see where the things went wrong, and I've been working on it myself, and that's what's going on. And when I'm trying to talk and have a conversation with the other parent about this, they're taking it very personal, as an attack, no matter what I say. And everything I say is now being disrespectful, not letting them talk, telling them how to do this, telling them how to be. And that's not the case at all. It's not the case at all. And it turns into a big old thing, because, I don't listen to them. I don't hear them. Okay, now, what's going on is, what I'm seeing, it's their own inner child. It's not actually what I'm doing. It's not actually what's going on right now. This is an example of their own trauma, of something else, because if they weren't going through that, and I know, because I did it myself. And I can see myself in it's because it's the truth. And a lot of people go through this. It's part of healing and understanding ourselves, and it's a prime example of where our life can be completely great. We think we're fine and everything, but there's aspects that become hidden from us that we don't realize are really affecting us, and this is an example of that. And it's like, no matter what, and it goes down to all kinds of things, and attack, and it's like, but the main point is they're taking it personal, and it's not about them. It's about the child. It's about helping the child get through things and developing, and it's not about them. And even saying it's not about them, it doesn't mean because they're trying to relate or trying to tell them that they're doing things wrong. It's not like that. It was just about wanting to help the child develop, right? Now, and if they get this, now they say they do, but there's still issues, because they can't seem to be able to talk without being interrupted, because no one wants to hear them out, because they are not important. And that's not the case at all. It's not the case at all. And it turns into a lot of unnecessary drama and unnecessary stuff that just doesn't have to be. And how to get through that, and it's like, okay, trying to do something and do it as a team for the best interests of the child has now turned into a reopening of a personal attack that's not actually an attack, that's not actually even meant to be about them, and it's turned into such chaos, and I just don't know how to get around it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. I do know that I realize that pushing is not right. I do realize that, okay? But I also realize that just allowing it to be and sitting quiet and not letting the child development happen, but not wanting to upset the parent because they don't, not wanting them to feel disrespected when that's not the intention, that's not the case. They want to blame me and tell me how mean I am and awful and how I'm, I hurt them, but it's like, how did this happen? No, and the more I explain it, it's like, bullshit, you're just full of shit. That's what you say, but that's not what happened. Yes, anyways, I'm not going to go in. It's not the place, but I know that the child needs that proper development, and that having things go in that flow is not what's best for the child. And no matter what, I have to do what's right because that's a child. I cannot do anything for an adult who does not see it. I can't. There's nothing I could do. It sucks and it hurts, and it's because I'm like, I can help, but I can't help. I can't. I know how, but I can't because I can't. You can't help someone who doesn't think that they need anything and that thinks that you're the one hurting them when you're actually trying to help them. And they don't think they need the help. You can't help. There's nothing to help, and that's the truth. Pushing does nothing. It'll actually do the opposite. But then again, then it's like, okay, but this child who is a child, it's not their inner child as an adult, they're still a child, the development. Of course, obviously, I have to represent the child and do what's right for them, and it's unfortunate. It really sucks. It's just an example of how it's really important to heal and see things that we closing up and feeling like we can't be vulnerable because we feel like someone's attacking us, but they're not really attacking us. Healing is so important. The only way to make sure you're not able to be manipulated by other people is to heal. When you heal, you see right through the shit. When you heal, you see outside of tunnel vision. You see the bigger picture. You're not just going on this emotion. And it turns into, it's like, okay. And then it doesn't matter. I don't need to go on about that. That's wrong reasons. No. Okay. Anyways, healing is self-empowerment to not be manipulated. And know that anyone who's trying to help somebody actually heal and letting them know in explaining and telling them in the live moment all the time that they, this isn't about you. I don't even know how to explain it. All I can say right now, because this isn't time for me to explain that. I can, but not right now. It's not the appropriate time. But I just want the message to be out about how important healing is, because just know that it helps you be able to trust, and the reason why you can trust when you heal is because your capability and receptivity to be manipulated, to be taken advantage of, to be all of those things that we feel we need to put our walls up for and go and fight or flight for, it starts to diminish, and you see right through the shit. You can only be taken advantage of and manipulated when you're just in a fog and you can't see outside of your tunnel vision, and you just grab onto things to feel better, and that's the only way. And when you heal, you see the truth. You see the truth, the real truth, the simple truth of all situations. I mean, not all. I mean, there might be situations where you might not see something coming, and it might get you and it might hurt you, but it won't continue. It won't go down a path that turns into like years or weeks, or you catch it fast and you catch yourself and you realize what in yourself actually is gone wrong that even let it get that far. I guess I'm struggling with the next step. I'm really struggling with I've already went through one situation where I couldn't help, and I could have, but I couldn't because of reasons. And yeah, to change the world is to change yourself, and when you change yourself from the inside out, you reflect, you see the world differently. Everything is different. Healing is so important. It really is. Don't start manipulating to feel empowered. Don't start closing up your walls and hardening your heart to protect yourself. Just heal. Just allow yourself to heal. That protects you. That gives you so much power, more power than you realize, more power than anyone realizes until they do it. It's amazing.